From the all-new Fathead Studios in Speedway, Indiana, this is The Skinny, with the founder and CEO of Fatheads Eyewear, Rico Elmore.
All right, welcome to The Skinny. Today's guest, I guess I'm the host. I can't remember how this works. But anyhow, today's guest is Brady Bacon, longtime sponsoree of Fatheads and longtime racer. So, you know, the usual thing that I ask is how did you start? Where did it start?
Well, my family was involved in racing. My grandpa raced around Oklahoma, Kansas, a little bit in Texas.
So what grandpa is this?
This is my dad's dad, so Ted Bacon.
Yeah.
And then my dad raced.
Is that the one that was always at the races?
Yeah.
You just lost here recently, right?
No, actually his dad, so not my great-grandfather.
Oh, wow.
He was 97, I believe. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So, no, Grandpa Ted still comes to Cherry Bowl and Sprint Week, and he's got his
RV.
Yeah, and he's got his people. He's got to,
Gotta
places
hang.
he's got to stop
Right.
there. Goes to Kansas, like when we race there, and I got to go over here. He'll miss a night of racing because he went pheasant hunting with this guy, and he'll drive, 100 miles out of the way to go see that guy, and he likes to
Just people he met along the way, huh?
just in life in general, and then the races happen to be close, so it's an excuse for him.
Did
to
he
go see
did
him
he
again.
did he race too? Is that what you said
Yeah.
or no? Okay.
Yeah, he raced what they called super modifieds, was what they called them in Tulsa. They were kind of similar to champ cars. So
Is that the one with the engine on the side or laid out of it?
No, that's what they were called back then. They were pretty close to like a 100-inch, like a Silver Crown car today. Is kind of what it's.
So isn't that what the Unsers raced out of New Mexico?
Probably similar. I think back in that time, everything was kind of very regional. So they were called super modifieds here. They were called B cars in Memphis. They were called sprint cars in Indy. So it was just, and then eventually everything kind of streamlined and became the same things. But like when USAC would come to the Tulsa Fairgrounds, the super modifieds would race with the champ cars. So
right on. So that's how it all got started. Did your dad run?
Yeah, my dad raced, started like micros, the 600 seat. Well, they weren't even 600s back then. They were like single cylinder, two-stroke stuff. And then he was, had a lot of success in that, won some national championships. And he started driving sprint cars at Tulsa Speedway. They had a really healthy sprint car show every Saturday night. They'd run 360s and 410s, and they'd have 35 360s and 34 10s every week, 6,000 people in the stands.
Wow.
It was really,
So do they still have that track there?
No, it's closed down. The facility's still there. But it's
Where was it? Where?
Right, just north of Tulsa on Highway 75. That was the second Tulsa Speedway. The first one was at the fairgrounds, where the expo is now.
Is that where the track was? Where the expo center's setting now?
Yeah, similar to where the horse track is.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay.
But it was a 5/8, and they were starting to get, as the cars got faster, they were having some people were getting hurt, and then the fairgrounds kind of needed this space, and then so they moved it out to the Highway 75 location, and that's where I, watched my dad race in the 90s, early to mid 90s. And
so what were you, like 5 then?
Yeah, I was born in 90, so I remember going
Jesus,
there,
man.
3, 4, 5 years old.
Make me feel horribly old, but go ahead.
Yeah, and he was kind of the king of the 360 class, and then Donnie Ray Crawford's dad. Donnie Crawford was kind of the king of the 410 class. So, and then
same cars, just different engines.
Yeah, the 360s at that time, they ran smaller wings and carburetors, so it was kind of one of those regional classes.
Yeah, gotcha.
There was a bunch of 35 cars and a lot of good guys like Mike Goodman and Mike Peters, people that kind of.
But it was probably affordable too, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it was somewhat affordable per se.
And this was in the early mid 90s, and the 360 2-barrel class, they called it. You could build a motor for $10,000, $8,000 to $10,000, and it paid almost $1,000 a week to win.
So what's a 360 cost now to build?
If you want to build the best of the best new, it's close to $50,000.
A little different.
Yeah, and then a lot of places you're still in racing for $1,500 in a 360. Some
Wow.
Some of the national touring, you get up to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and they have 10,000 win races, but. Yeah, the cost is accelerated faster than the payout, but it's just kind of part of it.
So you grew up in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Yep. Just
Okay.
outside of Tulsa.
So then you came up here when did you come up here? You started racing for Kane, or did you come up here before that?
No, well, I had been up here. I raced a midget for Mike and Megan Eubanks out of Oklahoma, and we didn't really know what we were doing. We just wanted to race midgets, and we showed up at Knoxville first. We had run some other regional kind of like Power Eye stuff, and we had won some races, and we showed up to our first USAC race at Knoxville, first time on a half mile, and we ran second both nights and almost won, and so we were kind of
So how old were you then?
16.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's not a place to play at.
No, we didn't really know any better.
You didn't know?
That's kind of ignorance is bliss sometimes, and we didn't really
That's
know.
kind of like starting this company. You know what?
Yeah.
I just didn't know any better how to fall, how I could fail. I just thought about all the ways I could win,
We were just there racing just to race, and then it kind of turned, it developed really fast, and then I ran my first sprint car for Jeff Walker in Wheatland, Missouri, and Brian Clausen got hurt that same night. And
okay, sure. I remember that.
I set quick time that night, first time in a sprint car, or a 410 sprint car, and I was just kind of holding on. That was kind of an interesting night. Brian Clausen got hurt. He was signed with Ganassi. They needed someone to fill his, they had, funded the deal for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So they talked to me, and I ran for Keith for the rest of 2006, and then they did the deal with Mopar and Casey Kane, and so I moved up here after I graduated in 2007.
Jeff Walker.
Yeah, he's something else. Yeah,
He's always been the same and never will change. I mean, he's a good one, but he is something else.
Yeah,
won a lot of races,
and
man.
He's given a lot of, the last 10 years, he's given a lot of kids like me, an opportunity that might not have had it. Chris Wyndham, Hunter Schoenberg.
Yeah.
He helps KT now. He's just always kind of Levi Jones. He gave him one of his first chances.
Yeah. What was that? Levi, that was when Levi, wasn't he driving the Lucas car then? I think that's when Levi got in the Lucas Oil car.
Yeah, the Bennett.
He won the Bennett Lucas Oil.
Yeah, I think he had driven for Walker before that.
That's what it was.
The Bennett deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little before my time paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Obviously, USAC sprint cars weren't necessarily on our radar, and when I was growing up in Oklahoma, we were kind of waited for the World of Outlaws to come to Tulsa Speedway in Oklahoma City, and the only time I got to see USAC sprint cars was on Thursday Night Thunder, or I started getting racing with DO VHS tapes.
Oh, yeah.
For Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Year. And I'd wear them out, watching, non-wing sprint cars doing wheelies and stuff.
Friggin' Dio.
Yeah.
I saw Dio at Sarah Fisher's place, 1911. He was there watching the Chili Bowl, and hadn't changed a bit.
No.
I hadn't seen him in a little while. I thought he was going to be out at Dick Jordan's thing, Dick has every year, mm-hmm. But yeah, he hadn't changed one bit. Just he had some health stuff that he went through, and I think he kind of came through that all right. And he was sitting over there just chilling out, so it was good to see. And there was a lot of people there. A lot. Yeah. It was nice that Sarah Fisher and them had all that stuff put together, and had a place everybody could go and not be sick for a week after it. And
Yeah,
and if
I managed to escape that this year. I went to the shootout and the Chili Bowl and didn't get sick.
That's amazing, because I'm telling you, I talked to Tracy Hines earlier today, and he's in bed.
Yeah,
absolutely about dead. So but it's good for you. It's all right. Everything's fine. That shootout, man, that's a lot. That's a lot.
So I helped help some people and ran multiple classes, and it's a 9 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night for 4 days straight, and they don't stop. So it gets a little harder on you than the Chili Bowl.
Yeah. There's a lot to that. So then you move up here, you start running for Kane. What all were you guys running? I remember the midgets.
Full USAC sprint car and midget, so dirt and pavement both.
Yeah.
So, and I had never ran pavement, quarter midgets when I was a kid, but it's not really the same, and so kind of got thrown to the wolves there. And
it was you and Kevin, Swindell, right?
Kevin in 2007, and then Brad Sweet in 2008.
Yeah, Kevin, I remember watching. I want to say, and I don't remember this, don't hold me to it, but at Salem Speedway, did he take both of you out going into 3? I know he went. I know he went for a hell of a ride there. I can't. I can't remember though. I for some reason thought that. Or
I think it might have been at Mansfield.
yeah. Okay. So it was just him. He was unbelievably fast, but he needed to slow down to be faster.
Yeah.
And
we were both. I think he was probably 18 or 19.
Yeah.
And I was 17.
He was on it.
Yeah.
He was on it no matter what. He was on it. It was on kill the whole time. And I was probably one of the first times I'd ever watched you run was at Salem. And, at the time, somewhere around that same time, maybe it was before that, not somewhere around that same time, we had a Hooters Pro Cup car, and we had ran there, and Winchester and a few other places up here for the North Series. And actually, our car got destroyed at Salem. Hard to believe, And that track's been hard on a lot of things and a lot of people there, man. It is fast, and I never understood it. What they were talking about, they'd always say, "Yeah, you go into the turns, and when you're in the turn, you're looking straight up at the sky, and by the time you turn down and start coming out of the turn, it's an open wheel car is a little different,
Yeah.
but a full-size car, you're pointed straight up in the air, and once you start coming down, you better hope that turn's clear or somebody's telling you that it's not, so. But so you ran for Kane in 7 and 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously the economy. We had economy issues, and the Chrysler was funding through Mopar, kind of
Yeah.
a driver development
Yeah.
deal, so all that kind of went away.
Was Kevin was there then, right?
He was there in 07, and Brad was there in 08.
No, I'm talking about
Kevin Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there.
He was still there.
I think he might have left in between.
Yeah, because then it was Rob Richards, I think, was the
Yeah.
guy's name, and then he was gone shortly after. But
Yeah, but then they had obviously bigger issues to worry about than
yeah,
kids racing,
yeah.
and so all that kind of slowed down and kind of turned the direction back to people kind of focusing on just making a career in open wheel cars or whatever they were, making their path with it, whether it be modifieds or late models.
Right.
Everyone was kind of would focus a little harder on staying in that, and then
Right.
I kind of moved back to Oklahoma and regrouped and got back.
Is that what you did? You moved
Yeah.
back. So you moved back what, in 08 or 9?
09. Yeah, we ran through 2008. I won my first. We didn't win any sprint car races till the end of 2008, and I won at Winchester, which is where I met my wife.
Yes, trophy girl.
She was a trophy girl at
That's
Winchester,
right.
and now I live in Winchester.
I know.
So it's
I know.
kinda-
That's I did know that you I did know that you had moved there and got you a shop and everything. It's a great place, man.
It's a small town. I like it. It's kind of out of the hustle and bustle of Indianapolis. We're
That's
still
right.
close enough to come
You
down
can
here
get
when we
here.
need something. And,
Yeah.
small town kind of community feel. When you go eat lunch, everyone knows who you are. And
Yep.
Ask
Yep.
how it's going, and we support the high school athletics, and we have our girls basketball team was runner-up in state last year, and so the tournaments are starting now.
Nice.
So my daughter she dresses up in the whole
Yeah,
cheerleading
sure.
outfit, pom-poms, and we go to all the games, and so we got sectional
How many
tournaments.
how many seats arena is that, or gymnasium is that?
It's probably 2,000 seats, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you just go to a normal game. I'm not used to that in Oklahoma. Basketball's
Right.
No.
Nobody. Right.
Football's a big
Football.
deal.
Right.
Yeah, so I'll go
Exactly.
to a basketball game on a Tuesday night, and there'll be 800 1,000 people there.
Yeah.
It's like normal.
And that was always the thing in Indiana, which was crazy. Of course, growing up in Newcastle, we had the Newcastle Chrysler High Field House, and I don't know if it's still called Chrysler. I don't think it's called Chrysler now because Chrysler left, but the field house and with the extra seats around the top, it's like 10,000 people.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, and I said something about this the other we had Wheeler on here, and we were talking, and I ran those stairs so many times because I got in so much trouble in school, and the wrestling coach would make me run nonstop. So
Yeah.
I should have been in pretty good shape. Actually, I was in great shape by the time that was over. So, but yeah, it's interesting. So you went back. Then what did you start running? 9.
He had they had midgets and kind of had started doing ASCS sprint car racing because that's a little more centrally located. Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, kind of the
Who had
hotbed.
those?
Mike and Megan Eubanks.
Okay,
So
yeah,
Telstar,
yeah,
you've seen
yeah.
Telstar on.
Sure,
You've always
yep.
seen Telstar on
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
That's their company, Telstar Technologies. Now they kind of do. They started out in like the phone business, and obviously that they kind of stayed ahead of the curve and adapted and
there you go.
into video, and they do a lot of casino work and audio video installations, wiring, fiber optics, security systems, stuff like
Right
that.
on.
So
Right on.
they still have a successful business, and so they had an ASCS sprint car, and I kind of just started doing that, kind of another deal. Well, okay, this is what we're doing next.
Started running the wing deal with them,
Yeah,
right?
we-
And was that was a 360, right?
360,
Yeah.
so the Lucas Oil ASCS
Yeah.
sprint car series. We didn't run the national series the first year. Just kind of ran around because I had never ran a full-size wing sprint car before either.
Yeah.
So just kind of took our licks the first year, and at the end of the year we started winning some races, and then we ran the full Lucas Oil ASCS national tour.
And what year was that?
2009 would have been the first year. 2010 we ran the full deal. I think 2010 was when we first got together. Me and
That's
you.
kind of what I was just trying to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause,
because I knew that it has been 8-9 years.
Yeah,
so.
they kind of decided to scale back, and so they kind of turned over the operations of the team to me, and had to get some support. And J.R. Todd had heard about that and told me to give you a call, that you were kind of getting interested in some stuff like that. Called you, and we've been together.
Old J.R. Todd.
Yeah, been together ever since. And
Yeah.
so we started having a lot of success in the wing sprint cars, running all over the country. We ran second runner-up in the national points once, and third a couple times.
What year was runner-up?
I think 2010.
Yeah.
We ran and there was a lot of stiff competition. I had Jason Johnson, Shane Stewart, Gary Wright was still racing, Tim Crowley, Jeff
Gary Wright,
Swindell,
jeez.
Paul McMahon was
Yeah.
on the ASCS
Yeah.
tour.
Yeah.
So it was tough, and the races paid
What's
good.
Gary Wright doing now?
Playing golf.
Really?
I think he owns half the town of Hooks, Texas, and
No kidding.
I think he drinks his coffee every morning and stuff. I actually got pretty close to him while we were traveling. He was definitely one of those interesting, one of
Right?
a kind.
Yeah, I
Texan.
didn't get to. I wasn't around him much.
Has a unique accent and
Was
voice.
it Bernie that had him run his? Didn't Bernie have him run a midget or something at,
Yeah,
at
probably,
the
yeah.
Chili Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was down there talking to him, and may or may not have been, a little bit sideways. So but no, he was a great, great guy, and exactly like you said, great, accent, demeanor, just person in general, and
Yeah.
and it was he was. Man, there's a lot of those guys, and I of course, good friends with Daryl,
Yeah.
Saucier and Cindy and, DSR and that whole bunch. And he's got some amazing stories from when the Outlaws started and,
Yeah.
just a lot of fun stories too,
Yeah, the guys like, Kenny Woodruff lives in Broken Arrow. It was like a mile and a half from where my parents' house is. So I kind of go over there and talk to him a little bit. And I've got to know like Rick Ferkel.
Yeah.
Those guys have a lot of,
Yeah.
everything now is kind of the same, but those are the guys that did all the stuff wrong
Right.
to figure out
Right.
what to do right.
Right,
So it's
right.
kind of interesting.
Daryl was pointing out to me some part that he had made on some car, and I don't know what it was, and told me the year that he did it, and then somebody came out and patented it and sells a shitload of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I said, man, you could have done it. Yeah,
They were
whatever.
more worried about winning races than they were selling parts.
They
and
were
stuff.
more worried about winning races and where the next race was. So, but yeah, it's absolutely crazy. So, when did you stop ASCS and come this way?
2012 was my final year in ASCS, and I kind of
that doesn't seem like it's 2012, by the way. But go
6
ahead.
years ago. So
Yeah.
it kind of the cost of the 360s was kind of getting out of control, and it's kind of curbed itself a little bit. But there was a lot of big names still in there, like Ford was getting involved, and their stuff was starting to basically be hard to keep up with. And to keep up, I was going to have to build new motors and stuff like that. And I just didn't really want to invest that much in 360s, so I decided I wanted to try to do some wing 410 stuff, and I knew I didn't want to have my livelihood relying on basically getting my butt kicked
Yeah,
in
right.
410s to start.
Yeah.
So Hoffman's I had driven for them a couple times in 11 and 12, and we won a race at West Memphis in 2012. And
Is that track still there?
Yeah,
Is it still there?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it was or not.
There's a World of Outlaw race I'm going to this year.
No kidding.
At Riverside, the ditch they call it.
The ditch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a full-time driver, and I called him, and that was kind of
Because who was in and out of Hoffman stuff at that time?
he had a lot of people. I mean, I drove it. Darren Hagen drove it some. Mesral had driven it some. They weren't doing pavement at that time anymore, but they've kind of always been prepared to do that if they needed to. I think one year they won the championship with like 13 different drivers. They won the owners championship. They had Tracy Hines was running trucks at that time, and they had him for the races he could do. And then if they were going to Putnamville, and Tony Elliott was the king of Putnamville, they'd just say, "Hey, can you drive our car?"
What was the car then? Do you remember?
It would have been probably Tide.
Yeah.
Tide, Pringles.
Yeah.
Like the Procter and Gamble.
Yeah. And then they would run. They would always run Little 500.
Yeah.
Because I very, very vividly remember the Tide car.
Yeah.
And Tony driving. I think Tony drove that Tide car, or I think he ran the Little 500 in that.
Well, he ran it this recently too as the mean green car in.
Oh, Stewart. Yeah, I was thinking of Elliott.
Oh, Tony Elliott.
Yeah.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Their list of drivers is that we had a shirt made with all of them. I think it's like 190.
Wow.
Something drivers. Because they've been racing. This is their 95th year of racing.
And that truck and trailer. Did they ever get a new one?
Still got it. Yeah. We run. I'll run their car, their own car. We kind of have a different deal. We use my truck and trailer some, but we'll run like Lawrenceburg. Last year I ran for them, and Big Red just rolls in. I don't think he can tear that thing up. I think they're on their 4th engine.
What is it? Is it an international or something? Or
no, it's like a Kodiak. Like a conversion.
Okay, sure.
And I helped. Dan was the crew member at the time, and I helped him drive it out to Phoenix.
That's
and,
what you said.
The
going through the
control,
hills.
Well, the cruise control is a stick. You just shove it into the dash, and it won't go too fast unless you're going down a hill. So you don't have to worry about.
You never have to worry about it getting out of hand.
It's just wide open.
Yeah. I tell you, it's funny. One of our other businesses. We used to wrap vehicles and all this and that stuff, and it was absolutely crazy. Chris Karamasini brings his the Greek drag racing legend brought his truck brought his trailer down to had his dragster in it, and we rolled it inside the building and was getting everything done on it, and then the next thing we're like, man, we really need to move this trailer because it's in the way. We got a forklift out there. It's about to roll the forklift over because it can't pick up this trailer. Well, this trailer was like the trailer that he used when him and Big Daddy Don Garlitz were setting the speed records at 250, and now they're going 330 plus, and things like that. But it's it's absolutely crazy. I mean, just the innovation of everything and everything that's moved along and stuff like that. So, does your dad still get to come? Your mom and dad get to come to a lot of them?
Not a lot of them, but they probably come to 20 a year. I try to kind of make sure I fit into my schedule to kind of swing through. Like in March, there's some midget races in Oklahoma. I try to, regardless.
Now, who are you running that for this year?
This year, I'm going to run that for Kelly Hink. I won the Tulsa shootout for him a few years ago and ran his car. He ran second this year at the shootout, and he's got a midget, and we're just going to kind of go run and have some fun. And
is that whose car you ran at the Chillyville this year?
No,
or did you run?
Frank Manafort. I ran his car, and that's who we won the Jason Leffa Memorial for him 2 years ago, and then we won the Indy race this past year. And I ran the full USAC season for him 3 seasons, and they, the schedule was always like 20 races, 22 races, and now it's up to like 32, and just kind of decided I didn't want to run.
Is that good or
anymore.
bad?
Well, it's good for some. Midget racing is probably the most expensive kind of racing you can do besides World of Outlaws, sprint car racing, and
They're finicky cars, man, and a lot of people think since they're smaller that it's easier. And
no, they're just as expensive, more expensive than a sprint car.
you know, you got a battery goes bad, you're done. Wiring, crank trigger. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy shit on
and
them.
it's a super competitive series. I mean, you got Keith Coons has 7 or 8 cars at every race, and now the Clausen Marshall team's got 3 or 4 with really good drivers, and then we had ours, and you have Chad Boat, and
so is Boat still? Is he coming back? Is he going to run again?
Yeah, I think he's going to run the series, and I think he's going to have another car with somebody else in it. So, you got 12, 15 guys that can win the race, and they don't really, 3,000 to win, and 300 to start. You have one little hiccup, and you run 5th, and you don't get a whole lot of money. So
and spend a lot.
So even just me racing for a percentage, it's hard to commit 32 races of your schedule to go run that.
So what are you guys going to run? 20? Is that what you said?
I'm going to run Frank's car, probably like 8.
Yeah.
Like we're going to run Indy for him and the Jason Leffler Memorial, and the Chili Bowl again for him. We ran 4th this year. It was my best run at the Chili Bowl.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That was I talked to Christopher Bell, I don't know, a few days after, and I mean, it was, it was an amazing race. I was impressed with the track. I thought the track was maybe as good or better than I've ever seen it. As competitive.
Yeah.
With a few lanes. I talked to Stewart about it, and of course he's him and another guy are the ones that are really doing it, and I impressed. I was impressed, and I haven't been out there for a while, and it isn't as if they need me out there, but it was always fun to go. Just unfortunately, some of the people that are in charge of it, kind of not really one of my strong suits with them. So it is what it is. But nevertheless, I'm still a fan, and I'm still into racing and helping guys and stuff like that out. And I try to. I tried to explain it to somebody one time that ran a series. I said, without people like myself, and not me alone by any means, and me very little, but without people like myself, guess what? You don't have none of these cars out here running. Yeah. And that's how it works. And so as much respect as you give to the drivers, or should give to the drivers, they're the ones that bring the people to the stands. You got to think about how they got there. You can't be short-sighted in how they got there, and who helped make that part of it happen as well. So, it's a give and take, and it's everybody that should be on the same page, and sometimes they aren't. I guess is probably really where I'm at with it. And I hope that it gets better for the racers, and it's a even bigger and better event. They ought to spend a lot more. They ought to pay a lot more money for it. Payout should be, hell, they could pay $100,000 to win that thing, and but when you got what you got, and the demand's there to have what you've got, well, you can get away with it, But did you run the St. Louis?
Yeah,
you did. Yeah, you did. I forgot about that. Yeah, we talked. So I was only there one night, and for very little amount of time, because, we just went over for the night. Now I'm gonna go over and spend the time at it the whole time this next year, and I was really impressed. I was really impressed with the way that it was ran. I was really impressed with the the appreciation for the sponsors, or the sponsorship that took place, that we did with them. And, so it was one of those things that, that made sense to us. Yeah. And something that we will continue with and try to grow with as well, with Cody and what he's doing. I mean, He's a heck of a guy. He is not one bit scared of jumping right in the middle of the fire and seeing if he can put it out or make it bigger, So I got mad respect for that. So, but he's a good dude. It was a lot of fun. Just a lot of room there, a lot of space.
I was impressed with that. There's not very many facilities like, the Chili Bowls and the Expo is a unique one. There's only one building like that in the world. So I was thinking that the pit situation in St. Louis was going to be crammed, and they could fit another 50, 60, 70 trailers in there, no problem. And you got
in the convention center area,
area. And so that was pretty impressive. And then I was really impressed with the efficiency that they ran the stock cars, on and off the track qualifying. I mean, it's incredible how fast they go. And they've had 3 years to, perfect that.
Yeah.
So they've made adjustments for the midgets every time we went on the track and got it more efficient every time. So I'm sure they'll have a little time to think about it and get that a little more.
Now, whose car did you run there?
Frank Manifold.
Frank, same guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we were leading one of the prelims, and Christopher got by us, and then we hit a hole. They had some issues with that because of the weather before they brought the dirt in, and it was a little rough, and we hit a hole and went to the
That
tail.
dirt will get better, though.
Yeah.
That dirt will get better. I think they'll start mixing some more stuff and get it where it's where it's better, where they can make make it a better racing condition. And
as far as the venue, I mean, like I went up to one of the suites. I mean, what dirt track has that? I mean, you
exactly.
got, NFL stadium caliber suites,
Yep.
and I think they were all full, and
they were sold out.
The whole bottom tier was full.
Yep.
And
the bottom bowl was sold out. The suites were sold out. We were kind of like in a little club area that they had taken care of the sponsors with, and I mean, there was quite a few people up there, but it was. Yeah, it was good. And I mean, there's a lot more people that want to go next year that didn't get to go this year.
Yeah,
so
I think the midgets added enough diversity. It's kind of a must-see event for the stock car and open wheel crowds. And it's
I think
cool
they should run 2 weekends. They can run their stock car stuff one weekend and sprints and midgets the next.
I think it's a unique getting to race. We only get to like be around the full body guys.
Yeah.
I don't mean that full body.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Mad, but the modified and late model guys, like maybe if they come to the Chili Bowl or we see them at PRI, it was kind of cool to see.
Why? Because little Rico went out on Bloomquist's
no, but just
shoulders.
like to talk to Nick Hoffman's modified guy, and to talk to Daryl Lanigan or Bobby Pierce, just because I'm sure they look at us. We watch their races.
Same thing. Yeah, sure. They got respect. It's mutual respect for each other. Yeah.
Just to go and talk to the guy, Don O'Neill. I'm really good friends with Don O'Neill, and to see them, get to see them race, and ask them, hey, what's the track gonna do, and stuff like that is kind of cool. And it just creates a unique atmosphere, especially being downtown St. Louis.
Yeah,
and you can hang out with them all after, just like we do at PRI here, but you're actually there for a race. So
where did you guys stay?
I stayed down the road a little bit, but I had never been to the race before, so it's kind of a question. Like when you go to the Chili Bowl, you know where to stay, or you go to PRI, you know where to stay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a first deal. I would change some stuff about that, and
stay at the Holiday Inn that's connected to
it's
it.
It's right across the street.
Yeah,
that would be a lot.
Yeah, they sent us like things that we could do, make reservations and all this and that. So. We got a few rooms.
Yeah, the infrastructure there is cool because there's plenty of hotels and
I know that's and I was talking to Cody, and he said, hey, did I call him Corey earlier?
No, you said
Cody. I'm losing my mind. Anyhow, I talked to him. His original goal was to do it at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah,
and. I mean, I think you could do it more than one place. I think it's a hell of a deal, and I think you could draw the crowd any place you went to.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's pretty apparent that the city of St. Louis is happy with it, or they wouldn't let him come back.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? They're making money, or they would not let him come back.
I went to go to lunch, I think Saturday, late morning to go get something to eat, and I mean, every person you saw had a racing T-shirt on in downtown St. Louis.
Yeah.
So it's going to be good for the economy, and especially with that being vacant for most of the time, other than a select few events. it's got to pump some money into it and bring. Obviously, a lot of people are traveling into St. Louis to come to that event.
And you know what? That's a nice venue.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that it's been there a long time, but it's, some of those venues age, but I mean, it doesn't seem, dated.
Yeah.
And
I think they need to get their alcohol ordering a little more on point, because I think they ran out both nights. They underestimated the ability for the
and
race
cost
fans to
themselves
consume.
a hell of a lot of money. And they had select alcohol. They, of course, only have Budweiser products, which is totally understood.
Yeah.
They had what we needed to get to where we needed to go. So
Yeah.
guess what? It was it worked out just fine. So, but yeah, it was a neat event, man. And I hadn't been in that building. I don't know the last time, and so to come back in the building and to see that, and they sent me an unbelievable big framed picture that's a panoramic view.
Yeah.
Race night, and and all that. So it was really cool. I was very impressed with it. But and that's the things that keep you coming back, man. And coming back as a racer, coming back as a sponsor, as a as somebody being involved, is just appreciation, and
Yeah.
so. But like you sending me beef for Christmas, as if I wouldn't like that. So
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Yeah.
What's the name? What is it?
Imperial Wagyu beef.
Wagyu. That's what
So
it is.
Tammy Tibbin, we met her. She used to actually help Tracy
Tracy,
Hines.
yeah, that's what she told me.
And I met her, I think, at Chili Bowl, and then could see her at Knoxville. And then as Tracy was kind of getting out, she asked, hey, I'd like someone else to get involved with. And we started out small, and she'd just do Knoxville and stuff
Right.
like that. And now, I think for the wing car, she's going to be on there for the whole, limited schedule, 25, 30 races that we're going to do. And then it, enables us to get her connected with people like you and other of my sponsors, and send out gifts and things like that. And everyone, that was a big hit with everybody. And that's kind of the most important part of racing in today's age, is relationships and connecting people. And that's how we keep the wheels turning.
A lot of people back in the day thought that what they were bringing to the sponsor was their name on the car that's going around the track. And, it's not racing, it's a business. And, the business is, if we aren't selling product and people aren't buying our products, well, guess what? We're not able to help. And, the same goes for Tammy and her program and everybody else that, is involved with you. And, it's almost like you want to have a sponsor summit, and have everybody in, and whether it's at like for you, whether it's at PRI and everybody comes in, and they come over here and everybody hangs out and has something to eat and some drinks.
You used to have that party where Revel is now. And actually, that's where I met Gene Frankowiak.
Yeah.
At your party.
Yeah.
And now he helps me with my motor program for USAC.
What a nut.
Yeah.
What a
so
nut.
And you helped him on his sprint car. And
yeah.
He gave
I
a
like
lot.
Gene, man. He is a great dude.
Yeah,
he is something else, and we've done stuff together for a long time. And so who's running his stuff now, or has he got something?
He has a car together. Dave Ely retired, so he was always racing with Dave Ely. So
Dave Ely, yeah. Now is he still doing the parts or whatever?
Yeah, his father-in-law owns DMI, so he runs they build rear ends and components and things like that. So he's also
he's a wild man.
One of our sponsors that helps us with products and stuff. So.
Dave Ely's another wild one. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then you had introduced me to the people at Lucas Oil, and I've been running their products for now since I've been with you, 8 or 9 years, however long it's been. So.
Wonderful people.
Yeah.
But that's what it's about. I mean, it's trying to, and sometimes you introduce people to others and they don't take advantage of it, or they take advantage of them, and that's one thing I can say for you. Everybody that I've ever introduced you to or that you've met has always been, always had nothing but great things to say, and it makes me makes me happy that some introductions I made actually worked for some.
Yeah,
kept hanging on
it
and
helps
kept
a
going
lot.
on.
I mean, we see it kind of start to create a, a brand that is affiliated with Fatheads.
Yeah, sure.
I get people that have come up and say, hey, I saw Fatheads on your car, and then I started looking, and they had them at Walmart where I got my eyes, and wow, I got them and they fit, and so
it is pretty amazing. And there's a lot of people, man. I mean, we're doing stuff with the All-Stars this year, which excited to do as well. And we've made a pretty decent sized commitment with USAC this year. And and of course, what we do with you, really our marquee driver. I mean, we're going to maybe do something with maybe one other, but at the end of the day, it's listen, we've had a lot of them, and a lot of them have retired, and a lot of them are gone now, but it's always been a good relationship. And I got serious issue with folks, that we help out along the way. And the day after we're doing, the day after we stop doing things with them, they all of a sudden, I see a picture of them, or they're somewhere wearing their Oakleys or their whatever else's, and it's like, it show a little gratitude. You know what I mean? I didn't get here, the easiest way, and there's a lot of people that helped me get this way. But, I can assure you this: I have a lot of gratitude, and I think a lot of that comes with age. I mean, it really does. And I mean, Christopher Bell was in here, and he was doing an interview with Buckley, and and we got talking afterwards, and I gave him some eyewear and stuff. And you know what? Every time I see him, man, I really appreciate it. I like those glasses. Those are not, and you know what? That means something to me, because there's not a thing that we did together at that point. Well, now we're going to grow that relationship. Chase Briscoe's the same way, and of course, knowing his dad forever, and, him and so forth, but we want to grow those relationships and build on them. And it just, I know somebody we used to help out that's that doesn't run any longer, or that does run but could use some help. But you know what? That, like I said, the day after we stopped doing something with him was the day that I saw him wearing something else, and it's like, listen, man, if I'm only good enough for you the minute that we're doing something, then I ain't good enough for you ever. So it is what it is. And I long relationship with Dave Darling, John Stambro, and guys like that, and have been nothing but loyal brand, because at the end of the day, you guys are brand ambassadors for us. I mean, you guys are out there talking about the product. Where can you get it? And I mean, you've been around long enough, the shtick, and you know what to tell people. And that's what really matters to me. It's not, I don't want to be involved with some, I mean, we got a deal to give free eyewear to one of the Super Bowl teams. And one of the people that's heading it up, as a player, I can't stand.
Yeah.
And guess what? I mean, I know he's a great player. He's an unbelievable athlete. But guess what? I have zero interest in helping.
Yeah.
Just because of what he's about.
Yeah.
And that's the whole, that's how it works. But, it's, a lot of people would think the same of Tony about what kind of person he is. But you know what? Stewart is probably, he is the most humble person I've ever met in my life. Jam a camera in anybody's face after they've gotten beat.
Yeah.
That's
especially.
ultra competitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, what do you think you're going to get? I mean, you're going to get what you're looking for, which is somebody losing their shit. And I mean, right now losing it,
Yeah.
I mean, it happens in football. It happens in baseball, basketball, racing, any sport, so I mean, the media has such access to those guys when they get out of the car. But you know what? That's missing now.
Yeah.
that's missing the guy that puts it out there. You know what I mean? All the cookie cutter stuff and the cookie cutter tracks and that's not what NASCAR was made to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's, starting to reflect back on short track racing, our platform to help our sponsors is getting bigger because, you got guys like Bell and Larson that keep coming back, and Tony's racing sprint cars, and Casey Kane's coming back racing sprint cars. And now those fans that have become a little maybe disinterested in what they're getting offered in NASCAR are looking somewhere else for that excitement, and short track racing offers that.
And the bad thing about it is everybody's got a place.
Yeah.
So when NASCAR came in and they were trying to throttle everyone, throttle IndyCar, throttle open wheel, period. Well, guess what? That comes back to bite you. That's just bad karma, man. You can't do that. If you like open wheel and you like IndyCar, then, okay. Everybody's you got to coexist, right? You got to coexist in doing it because, you got Tony that came from IndyCar, was a stud. First of all, came from open wheel, USAC, so forth, then IndyCar, and then he has a chance to go to, go run NASCAR. Well, there's people from NASCAR that have went back to run IndyCar.
Yeah.
It goes both ways, and all it does, when Kurt Busch ran, it was awesome. He had a chance. He could have won.
Yeah.
He could have won the race. But I will tell you, one of the craziest things is he hit the wall in turn 2 right by our suite during practice. And he snuffed it. He hammered the wall. Well, he's back in the back, and they're interviewing him, and this car's gone. This is like you can take a bolt off of it. That's about all that's left, right?
Yeah.
And he's back in the back, and they said, what do you think? He said, they're back there working on putting it back together. He said, we're going to see if we can get back out today. Dude, that car was tubbed. It was gone. That's a show car now. Yeah. That's what that is. That is, and it was just interesting. But he whacked the wall, and it's just, I think he was a little shaken up, wondering, thinking that they could get it back together. But it was great having him there.
Yeah.
And he was an unbelievable competitor, unbelievable driver. Same thing. If Kyle Busch came back, and run the double or whatever, I'm just telling you, for every one of those guys, and, Tony included, more than once, that would run the doubles, it is absolutely amazing. And listen, whoever says that they're not athletes or you guys aren't athletes, well, guess what? Climb in one of these bad boys and see how good you are, trying to keep it going the right way, however many laps,
And the guys like, Fernando Alonso coming to run Indy 500 was huge, and just won the Rolex and won Formula One races everywhere, and just there's unique.
He's a neat guy. He's actually a really nice guy.
Unique talents like that, like both the Busch brothers, Tony, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, that have a unique talent to drive anything, and it's cool to see them succeed in other venues when people say they might be done or washed up or something, and they get in something where their equipment's equal again with everybody else, and looky there, who rises to the top.
Yeah, it's all about talent, man. And if you got it, you got it. And I'm not doubting that probably with age comes a little. I don't know if I'd even say fatigue or whatever. But hell, when you're young, man, you're invincible. You don't think about stuff hurting you or getting. You get older. But shit, look at John Force. That dude, he is still going.
Yeah.
Karamasini, Chris, he was, God, I don't know, 80 something, I think, and I think he ran something last year, but guess what? He gets in and hammers it down and keeps on running, so guess what? The thing of it is you're only as old as you are young, if you think you're young, then that's how old you are. So
right.
I some days don't know, but anyhow, it's been a pleasure. 8 years with you guys. Watched your family grow. I
We
know.
had no kids, not married when we met, and now I'm married with 3 kids. Every time we would come see in the office, we had another kid.
I know. Had another one to the tribe.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll remember that orange juice drawer and everything.
Oh
next time they
yeah,
come back, too.
yep. They'll be back by wanting some of that. That seems like everything it always happens. When you're a kid, you remember the good stuff when you went someplace, and
Yeah.
so. But it has been an honor to be involved with you, and a pleasure. And you've been a great statesman of our product, and I don't see us stopping anytime soon. So.
Well, we appreciate the support, and hopefully we can keep helping you and sell some sunglasses and keep the name out there as much as we can.
That's right. All right, Carl.
This episode of The Skinny has been brought to you by Fatheads Eyewear. Check out all of our unique eyewear lines for men and women at fatheads.com. To read more about Rico's history, his blog, and philanthropies, visit his personal page at ricoelmore.com.